Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time. Today, we're gonna talk about the cost difference, benefit, if you will, potentially of buying versus building a brand new custom home. What really is the difference? Is there a big price difference? Let's talk about it. Okay, so like I said, today we're gonna talk about the difference price-wise between buying and building a brand new custom home. And this is specific to here in the Colorado Pikes Peak area, Colorado Springs, Front Range area. We're actually on site today right now. It's a little bit chilly out today. I'm not gonna lie to you, my ears are pretty cold, but we're on site today. There's a house that we just poured the foundation in. They're backfilling right behind us here. So might hear a little bit of background noise, but anyway, so let's talk about buying versus building. Is it really that much more to build a brand new custom home versus buying? So I wanted to start with just a little bit of a statistic to begin with. And the first thing is that, so I looked at kind of the overall market here for the Colorado Springs, Pikes Peak area. And as of today, right now, the average resale price is $215 a square foot. Now, if you talk to any custom builder, they're probably gonna hate whenever you ask the question about what's your price per square foot, because there's so many variables involved with it. It's something that just most builders, including us, we hate to quote because again, there's so many variables involved. But we also realize that the general consumer, someone that's thinking about building, it's a really good measuring stick that they can use to see if something might fit within their budget. So $215 a square foot, that's the average price point to buy a resale home here in the Pikes Peak area. So how does that compare to custom? Now, I will say right off the bat, custom homes can vary. I mean, you can spend as much as $1,000 a square foot on a custom home, but when we really compare, I don't want to say apples to apples, but when we make a pretty fair comparison, I will say that right now, us as a builder, we have the ability to build in certain areas that we have lots right now. If it's a really efficient floor plan, we can build for, $235 a square foot with the lot included. So, and that's about a 2.5 acre lot versus a vast majority of those resale homes that we talked about, those are going to be on, city lots, subdivision lots. So we're talking, less than a quarter acre, maybe even downwards of like 6,000 square feet. So the amount of land that you get for that $235 a square foot is vastly different than that average $215 a square foot that you might get on the resale side. So that's just a little bit of kind of a little data point to use for that price per square foot. And we're going to circle back to that a little bit at the end as well. So let's talk about the big thing that most people think about is the time and hassle. If you need to get into a house today, don't plan on building a custom home because it's not going to happen. On average, it's going to be about a 3 to 4 month design process on the front end, and then about a 8 to 10 month build time after that. So you're looking at over a year from the time you decide to pull a trigger with a custom home until you're actually in the home enjoying that, the brand new custom home. So the timeline vastly different. So if you have a flexible timeline and maybe you can wait that much time, maybe a custom home might make a lot of sense. The other aspect of it that a lot of people, I think we kind of tend to forget about when we get excited about a custom home is the hassle factor. Now the hassle factor, honestly, it's vastly different depending on what builder you decide to go with. I always tell folks, man, interview as many builders as you can and find somebody that really, really fits your personality and that you have a really good feel for, that, hey, these guys are gonna do me right. They're going to be honest with me about the timeline. They're going to be honest with me about price. And I shouldn't expect a whole lot of surprises throughout the build unless myself as the builder, or rather as the buyer, decide to make some changes. So the hassle factor is the big thing. If on the resale side, you find the house you like, you pull the trigger on it, you write the offer, you get it under contract, 30 days later, you're moving into your house. Maybe you had to go through a little bit of hassle on the inspection items and things like that to kind of try to, work back and forth with the seller. But overall, the hassle factor is pretty low whenever you're buying a resale home versus a custom home. Now, like I said, even on the custom home side, you can really, really minimize that hassle factor by selecting a great builder and then also doing a lot of due diligence yourself ahead of time to make sure that you've, thought through the plan that you want, what your true needs, wants, and desires are, what you need to see in that floor plan, where you're willing to flex, where you're not willing to flex. The more that you have figured out ahead of time, the better for you. So the hassle factor, definitely going to be less on the resale side, but man, I'm telling you, you can really, really minimize it even on the custom home build side. And let's go to the next point. It's the obvious one. You get what you want within your budget, of course. But mostly you get what you want versus a resale. Now some of us are fortunate. You know, it happened for my wife and I previously that you know, we found a resale home that was a great value. It fit what our needs were at the time, and we loved the house for, gosh, I think about a decade, almost 10 years we were in the house. So you can certainly get a house, a resale home that fits what you're looking for. Now, is it going to be exactly the floor plan? Is everything going to be exactly the layout that you wanted? Probably not. Maybe you get lucky and you find exactly what you're looking for, but most of the time there's going to be some compromises on exactly what that house entails, whether it be the floor plan, the square footage, the location's a big thing, that lot, is everything just perfect about it? So typically not on the resale side, but then if you go to the custom side, you're usually going to be able to check a lot more boxes than what you can on the resale side. So on the custom side, you know, you're typically going to be able to pick out your lot, or, you know, select from either builder-owned lots, or maybe find a lot on your own with your realtor and find the land that you really like. And then also you're going to be able to design that floor plan, and whether you start from a builder stock plan that they have and then make a lot of adjustments to it, or if you just start from, you know, back of the napkin, like, you know, sitting at the bar sketching up exactly what you want, you can also, I mean, that's just a huge advantage to be able to sketch out the floor plan exactly like what you think is going to fit yourself and or your family, kind of the day-to-day living, and just really think through all those details and get the plan exactly how you want it. Now, of course, we all have a budget, so, you know, there might be some give and take and some compromises for sure, but bottom line, I feel that you definitely get more of what you want on the custom home side. Probably kind of sounds a little silly when I say it. Everybody's probably thinking, of course you do, right? But you do get more of exactly what you want on the custom side versus the resale side. And having been on both sides of this fence personally, I can definitely say yes, 100%. You get more on the custom side, even if you have to sacrifice your price or your kind of exactly what you want a little bit based on your budget. You're still probably going to be able to align yourself more with what you want at the same price point on the custom side versus the resale side. So you definitely get more of what you want whenever you decide to build custom. So then I guess really the bottom line question it comes down to is it more expensive? And if it is, how much more expensive really is it? I'll just be bottom line up front. Typically, it is going to cost more to build a new custom home than find a resale home. But there's a big caveat to that. And that big caveat is custom home prices only get so low. You know, you're usually on a little bit more acreage. So here, outside the Colorado Springs area, there's a lot of 2.5 acre lots. That's what we see a lot of custom homes on, is 2.5 acre lots versus, like I said, maybe like a subdivision lot that's maybe 10,000 square feet. So it's like less than a quarter of an acre. So you're going to get more land with it. That's a big cost difference, but you get something for it. You get something tangible for it, which I think is really nice. And then also, builders can only build so low at a price per square foot, versus on the resale side, maybe a seller can take a little bit less for the house. Maybe they've gained a lot of equity because they've been in it for a long time. Whereas a custom home builder, no matter how small, they try to get their margins for the profit margin. It is a business at the end of the day, right? Everybody's got to make a little bit of money. No matter how small they try to get those, the overall price point only comes down so far. So what I mean by that is you're typically not going to be, at least in our area, it's going to be really hard to build a custom home for less than $1 million. I know that sounds crazy when I say it out loud, but it's just the reality of the world that we're living in right now. So $1 million, but if you take that and you compare that to a resale home at $1 million, you're probably looking at a similar type community. You're probably looking at a similar size, you know, square footage wise, with probably some, you know, relatively similar finishes, probably more dated finishes on the resale side. So on the custom home side, it is more expensive. Like, you're not going to be able to go buy a $500,000 custom home, at least in the Colorado Springs area. But if you really try to kind of compare apples to apples as much as you can, if you look at a custom home, say it's 4,000 square feet and it's on 2.5 acres and it was built in 2000, that home isn't probably going to be too much different than if you had decided to build a custom home on the 2.5 acres, 4,000 square feet in 2023. The price really probably isn't going to be that much different, if it's going to be different at all. So I just encourage everybody to just kind of, you know, like, explore both options. So again, especially if you're in the Colorado area, we all know it's got a little bit pricey. If you're looking to buy a $500,000 house, wonderful home. That's kind of right around our median price point right now. You're not going to be able to do a custom home at that price point, but there are going to be some great home options for you. Now, if your budget's a little bit higher and you're kind of looking at that custom home, but you're thinking about buying a resale custom home or building a new one, that's where I think you're going to be a little bit surprised with the price points and see that they're really similar, but you get modern finishes. You get to pick out exactly what you want. We can minimize the hassle. The timeline really isn't that long. There's a lot of positives to it. So I just encourage everybody, again, if your budget supports it, make sure you consider both. And this is no matter where you're at. Make sure you consider purchasing resale and building custom if that's something you're interested in whatsoever. Definitely talk to a few local builders and get a little bit of feel for what the market's like in their area. And as I always say, if you guys are in the Colorado area, wherever you're at in Colorado, we would love the opportunity to chat with you, see if we might be a good fit to help you out. And if nothing else, give you some more information so you have all the info to make the best decisions possible. And honestly, guys, it's pretty freaking cold out here, so I'm gonna get going. Until next time.